Joining us now here is David Arn. How are you today?
Just fine, thanks, Toby.
Now, you've got a new song out with Ava Hart. It's called Mother's Day. How did you come up with that song?
Well, I worked with Ava Hart, was writing songs for her.
Yeah.
And when I was out of ideas one day, I asked her, I said, what would you like me to write a song about? And
Mm.
she has a son with autism. And she said, I'd like you to write a song for my son. And so that's what I did. I set about that task. And I wrote that song, and she sang it beautifully.
Was it quite an easy task to be given to write a song about someone in particular's son?
Who fed you that question?
I don't know. I just came up with it just now.
It was very difficult. As a matter of fact, I came up with two versions of that song prior to the one that you now hear.
Yeah.
And she just kind of looked at me cross-eyed, like, "What are you thinking about?" And
Yeah.
that's really when I actually got on the internet and started doing some research. Then I was eavesdropping on some of the chat rooms where primarily mothers of children with autism, where they were posting things about their lives.
Yeah.
And I can remember one from the UK, as a matter of fact, where this woman had done a post about the fact that she has a young child, a young girl, I believe, with autism. Her husband had left her, had
Oh.
deserted her. And there she was with the child 24/7. And I was really moved by that story. It kind of opened up my eyes to
Mm.
the number of people that are in that position. And to me, it was invisible.
Yeah.
So that kind of set um, my sights straight. And then I came up with the version that you hear now. I did that as a demo. I took it to Ava, had her listen to it. She started crying
Mm.
when she heard it, and I just knew that was the right song.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who would say that the world would be a much better place if everybody had an autistic child. So, from your research, would you agree with that?
Oh, I think so. I think there's a lot of people. I think, especially in my country,
Yeah,
I think that take a lot of things for granted. That they
yeah,
take a lot of privileges and a lot of things that come to them like that. It's just the way it's supposed to be. But I think if you want to get in touch with your values and what's important in life, I think you have to be exposed to that. I think it grounds you, is what it does.
yeah, and it gives you a different perspective on people as well. Not everyone is the same.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I would agree with you 100%
Yeah.
on that.
So, when you first started to get into music, how did that come about?
Well, I foolishly convinced myself that I could do
Yeah,
this. No, actually, it was probably about 9 years ago.
yeah,
My background is really more in literature,
mm,
and but I play music as well. And something must have happened about 9 years ago where I was able to just kind of merge my love of music with the background that I had in literature. It just kind of came together. So, as a matter of fact, the song Mother's Day is actually part of a larger project that was just released
yeah,
called Traveler Tales. And what the song Mother's Day is the mother's tale. There's actually 14 songs on that album. And in each one is a tale or a song where the character is relating their situation through song. So, in answer to your question, I was able to
mm,
kind of merge my two passions
yeah.
into one and started writing music.
Yeah, and when you were younger, did you ever even consider music at all?
Uh, well, I did when I was younger in school. I used to play in bands. I had actually tried writing my tried my hand at writing songs at that time, but
Yeah,
they didn't come out very good. I didn't have enough experience. Now being older, I can draw on more experience. I think I have
yeah,
a little more empathy, and it comes a little bit easier, I think.
So coming from literature, it must be easy to write the lyrics because I suppose it's similar to poetry. How did you find writing the actual melody and tune for it?
Well, that is a very good question. The overall concept of traveler tales, I borrowed that from one of yours. Chaucer wrote Canterbury Tales,
Ah,
and it was done in the 1300s. And it's really it's where different characters are on a pilgrimage, and they're each telling their story. And I was kind of at a loss as to how this entire project was coming together. And then I woke up one morning and I said, I am going to use that. I'm going to call it Traveler Tales, and I'm going to have these 14 different travelers who are going to relate their story through a song,
oh,
because they're all first person narratives. So I think my exposure to literature gave me gave me that idea. Okay, that influenced me in that way. And secondly, I would say that I always begin with the lyric.
yeah,
I don't begin by sitting down on the piano and saying, "Oh, gee, that sounds great. Now let me put some words to it." I
yeah,
always start with the lyric. I start with the story, and when I have that pretty much done, then I will sit down at the piano and try to make it work.
yeah. And who do you look up to in music? Because a lot of musicians have been influenced from when they were younger. So because you've only been doing it for 9 years, do you have anyone that's really influenced you?
Oh, I would think so. I think a lot of people have influenced me. I think the first one would have to be someone like Leonard Cohen.
Oh yeah,
Uh, I'm a huge Leonard Cohen fan and have been for years. And I think his lead was the fact, he had started out as a poet
mm.
and then went into music, and he found that through his music he could get to a much larger audience. And so, and again, it was just the economy and the of words. It was the wit that he put into his songs that really influenced me.
Yeah,
I'm not comparing myself to Leonard Cohen at all. I'm
yeah,
just saying that he influenced me. You see, in how to handle irony and how to get sneak humor into your songs. You see,
yeah,
inside jokes.
yeah,
But at the same time, I've also been influenced by people like of course Bob Dylan and
mm.
Tom Petty. I
Oh
love
yeah,
Tom Petty, and so it was just kind of an amalgamation, if you will, of those different people that kind of contributed to what I'm putting out now.
yeah,
And you'll find that on the excuse me, and you'll find that on the album is the fact that there are folk songs, there are some done in like acoustic rock, there are some that are folk rock, and there are some are rock and roll. That those different styles are designed to reflect the are done in the vernacular of the character, if you will.
yeah,
You say,
yeah. It's good to have that variety, isn't it?
oh, it is, yeah. I think everyone is capable of writing one song. The
Yeah,
problem comes in when you try to write the second and third one. So
yeah,
you want to have that variety, right?
yeah. And it's a bit like books when you write one book and then the publisher's like, "We're going to give you a 3-book deal," and you're like, "Oh no."
There you go. Yeah, you seem to know that ground pretty
Yeah.
well.
In the times that you've been in music, have you had any highlights that have stood out to you over the past 9 years?
Uh, well, let me see. Yes, I have. I think I've had a couple songs that have been successful in terms of radio. When I did my second album, Walking to Dreamland, there was a song on that did fairly well. I had one, Not Amused, has done really well, and I work with a filmmaker in
Ooh.
Brooklyn, New York, and he and I have teamed up and have done several music videos that have won awards at some major music festivals. We've now had 3
Oh,
awards on that, and that to me has been very very
yeah.
gratifying.
Yeah.
To have that, because I write with imagery, and then he can take that imagery and then translate it into a video, into a short film, and it has just worked really well in calling attention to the music.
Yeah. Do you star in the music videos yourself?
Not really. I've only done maybe two where I've been in it. I really have tried to um, tried to create little vignettes, little scenes, and if I can find, I've worked with actors and actresses up in Canada. I've worked with them in your country, where we
Yeah.
just tried to create a scenario that accompanied the song and shoot a film to go with it. As a matter of fact, there was one that we did up in Canada several years ago where someone had saw it and they thought it was actually a trailer for a movie.
Oh,
When it wasn't, it was actually just created for that 3.5 minutes worth of music, you see.
yeah.
But I think that I don't, I'm really kind of self-conscious about that, about putting myself out there. I'm not Lenny Kravitz, okay? I'm not going to put myself out there with a bunch of women
Well, yeah.
in a video, okay? At
Yeah.
least not while my wife is watching. But I would not I would not do that. I would not produce that kind of video.
Absolutely. Well, where are we able to listen to your music then?
Oh, you can find it on Spotify. You can find it on my channel there. You can also find it on my YouTube channel. I have about there's probably about 15 videos
Ooh.
that are now on my YouTube channel. You can just go to David Arn Music. You can find it there, and also you can. I have a very active Facebook following with about 6,000 followers right now,
Ooh.
and they engage. They tell me through their feedback, their lack of positive feedback, they get directions. Let me put it that way.
Yeah,
So I find that very helpful.
indeed. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today, David.
Toby, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.